Well, hey there, athletes. This is Kim Constable. Welcome to another episode of Strong and Sculpted, the podcast by me, Kim Constable, aka the Sculpted Vegan, about all things strong and, of course, all things sculpted. And this week I have a very special episode for you. It is an interview with one of our most successful members of, well, first of all, the 4-week shred program, and then also of the 18-month Sculpt and Shred program. Now, the reason why I wanted to interview this particular member, well, one reason is she is absolutely hilarious. She is honestly one of our most valued members in the group. She can make anybody smile. She can make anybody laugh. She is so supportive, so funny, so witty, and she literally makes me fall off my chair whenever I read her posts. But the main reason that I wanted to interview her today is simply because Vanessa is a badass woman who literally takes no shit and just makes it work. Vanessa is a quintessential member of the program. What do I mean by quintessential? I'm like, how do I describe this woman? Like, she's truly phenomenal. She is the kind of woman who, even though she had, are you ready? 3 children under the age of 3. Yep, she had twins and then she had another child shortly after. So she was crazy busy. She works as a, she teaches English to Chinese students. So she gets up at 3 a.m. every day. Yep, you heard me right. So she's parenting her very young children. She's getting up at 3 a.m. every day. She works crazy hours. She's emotionally and physically exhausted from parenting her children. And yet she still manages to find time to sculpt a shit hot body. How on earth does she do it? Well, I wanted her to break down for me exactly how she does it and really what kind of drives her to do it, because I mean, it sounds exhausting even listening to it, but she is the kind of woman who really just takes it on and makes it work. And like I said, she has been one of our most successful members in the program, not because that she, has the best body in the program, and she does have an incredible body. She really has put on a hell of a lot of muscle, but just how she embraced the journey. She embraced what we were teaching. She got over her fear of putting on fluff so that she could build some serious muscle. And, she just keeps going with a smile on her face and tackles everything that life throws at her, does not let excuses get in the way. She has discipline. She has consistency. She's not an asshole, which you'll hear us talk about. She laughs her way through things. If you tell her to do something, she's going to goddamn do it. She's, she doesn't ask advice to suffer. She asks advice to genuinely get advice so that she can take your advice and then apply it to her life and get incredible results. So I know that many people, they want to join fitness programs or they want to start at the gym, but they maybe think that they don't have the time to commit because they have a full-time job or they have young kids, or they wonder how they're going to fit it in around their lives. And I want to show you that it's not just me over here saying, yes, it is possible. Yes, you can do it. Because I get a lot of flack. I get a lot of people saying to me, oh, but it's all right for you because you have a chef and you have a housekeeper and you have all these things. And I'm like, sweetheart, I didn't have these things in the beginning. The reason why I have a chef and a housekeeper and all of, the help at home is simply because I have built the business to be able to afford it. But whenever I first started out building my body, all I was doing was bodybuilding. Like, I wasn't running this huge business. And also I was parenting, homeschooling my 4 young children. So I did everything that I did, while I was homeschooling my 4 kids. But then people think I'm an anomaly. They go, well, it's all right for you. And they always have these excuses as to why it's all right for me. So I wanted to bring Vanessa on the show today to show you that I am not an anomaly. And Vanessa is like one of thousands of women doing this kind of work in my programs, whether it be the Sculpt and Shred, whether it be the 4-week shred, the 12-week shred, whatever. These women have no excuses. They take no BS. They just get their head down and they get it done. And they're all just slightly insane, I have to be honest. They're not really insane, but you have to be a little bit insane to do one of my programs, because the reason why they work is because they're so goddamn hard. So I really want you to hear from Vanessa, and I want you to hear her story. And apart from anything, you are just going to fall in love with her exactly the way that I did. Like I said to her, if you lived here, we would be girlfriends. Like, we totally would. She absolutely has my sense of humor, and she's got a real potty mouth, and you're going to absolutely love her. And you know what I loved even more about her? Whenever she found out that I was recording this under a duvet, yeah, I'm actually under a duvet in my office, believe it or not, because I've moved into this new office and it's like an echo chamber. So we're getting it soundproofed. So I have to record all my podcasts under a duvet. So she was like, I'm going to get under my duvet too. I was like, are you really? So she did. She sent me a picture in the Facebook group of her under her duvet because I was under my duvet and she wanted us to be in rapport. And that just made me love her even more. So I hope you enjoy this episode just as much as I do. And I just want to tell you, I always remind you, but it's so important because we do give away a free program every single month to someone who leaves a review on the platform that they listen on. So don't leave the review on our website. Leave it on iTunes or Spotify or Podbean or wherever it is that you listen to your podcast. Leave a review of the podcast. Send me a screenshot on Instagram. That's very important. Send it to 𝐻𝐸𝐵vegan. Send me a DM of your screenshot, and so we can flag you on Instagram. We make sure that we definitely see your review, and every single month we choose someone to win a free program, including the 18-month $1,500 Sculpt and Shred. So make sure you leave that review if you haven't already. You can leave one every single month if you want. You can leave as many as you want, and that increases your chances of winning, because if you ain't in it, you can't win it. So I'm going to go on to the interview with Vanessa now, and then I will chat to you again at the end. Hey Vanessa, how are you? Thank you so much for agreeing to appear on this episode of the podcast.
Hi, Kim. Thank you so much for having me. So excited.
I know, it's wonderful. And I know that you're like juggling the demands of, looking after, is it 2 kids or 3 kids you have?
3.
3 young babies. Oh my goodness. And what ages are your kids?
I have twins who just turned 5 a few days ago, actually, and a 3-year-old.
My goodness, you have your hands full. I remember what it was like whenever mine were that young. It really is just one big long treadmill, isn't it?
It is. It's like doing the shred for like ever.
And here,
it really is.
I know it really is. And to tell you what I want to talk about today, and listen, guys, just so you know, okay, I'm just going to preface this by Vanessa and I were just having a laugh there earlier whenever we first set up the call, that I am currently sitting under a duvet in my office. Like, I kid you not, I've moved into this office, which is close to the house, and the acoustics are so bad in here. My team keeps telling me off. And so if my voice sounds a little weird, you're just going to have to excuse me, because I'm currently sitting under a duvet with a microphone and a pair of headphones. And I swear I might die actually of sweat in here because it's already starting to get warm. But anyway, hopefully you're sitting in more comfortable circumstances. Are you, Vanessa?
Oh my God. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to match you and go under my duvet now and just we can both suffer together.
Yeah, that's actually quite cute. I love that. But Vanessa,
I'm totally going to do it.
You totally should. You totally should.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
I love you forever, my creative director, Mark, because he loves it whenever there's good, lovely, soft, gorgeous sound.
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm totally doing it.
You're so funny. So listen, Vanessa, the reason why I wanted to have you on today was because, not only have you been an absolutely amazing addition to our community, like your journey so far has been totally epic, and you have gone through something that
thank you.
You've really taken on board what it is that we teach in the program. And I think that, your personal journey really is something that many, many women struggle with. And we're going to dig right into what your personal journey, with not just with the Sculpt and Shred program or the 4-week shred, but just kind of, personally what you've learned and how you've evolved. But what I would love to do, first of all, is to just to ask you just to tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, who are you and where are you from? And we know you have 3 kids, but, do you manage them on your own? Do you have a significant other? Like, tell us a little bit about who Vanessa actually is.
Oh boy, you're asking for it now.
I love it.
So I am married. My husband, Jason, we've been married this will be our 7th year. We had 3 kids in 19 months. So
wow.
we don't really know what life is like without kids, to be honest. And so everything from the very beginning has been like utter chaos. And so yeah, it's been like it's been really hard. So like I said, like my oldest are twins and they just turned 5. And I think I'm finally getting to like a place where I can like figure things out, but I still don't, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. Because the thing is like, so I teach English as a second language. I teach English to kids in China. And so my job is like through the computer. So I don't go in anywhere, but I do it through the computer, and I'm on China's time zone. So that in and of itself, with having the 3 toddlers, has been very hard to get used to, of course.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. It's like, it's really, I mean, I love my job. Like I absolutely love it. And I would do it every single day if like, time constraints were not a thing and things like that. but it's been, it's just balancing that with the 3 kids and marriage. And then of course my own like health and fitness journey. Like I never knew I could do it. Like I would have never dreamed that I could even, like, I remember signing up for your program, or I saw you actually on, I think I saw you like on an ad on Facebook and was like, oh my God, it's a woman. Because like all the ads I've always seen have been of men, right? Nothing wrong with men, of course, but I never felt like I could be coached by a man and have them really like understand what it's like to be a woman, just a woman trainer, or training in the gym and things like that. What it's like to be a mom and just like all the different things that make us like, who we are as women.
Yes,
and
I agree.
I had been wanting to like find a coach and find somebody who I could basically just follow another program, and I remember seeing your picture and I was like, holy F, like this is who I want to work with. Like, I don't even remember what ad it was, but, I was like, I got to do this. And it was for the 12-month, which is now the 18th month program. And I remember looking at my husband and I was like, I don't know if I could do this, but this sounds amazing. Like this would be like, for some reason, I just knew it was like the thing that I was going to finally succeed with and just do it. Like no matter how much, my work hours were, whatever the kids were doing. And at the time they weren't in school. They actually just started school a few months ago. So I had all that, on my plate and I just did it.
I didn't even know, I have to be honest, I didn't even know that you had a job. I actually thought you were a full-time mom and like of 3 young kids.
Yeah,
and that's like insane enough.
That's like hard enough, right?
Yeah.
So the hard thing is I've never had a job where, number one, that I've truly loved and have been like, okay, I'm going to do this and make it happen. And have that with kids, because when I first had the twins, I wasn't working at the time. And so I had put everything on hold and I wasn't doing anything. And when I started working, when the twins were like, I don't know, I guess 6 months old, I don't remember how old they were when I started. And everything was just like a big blur. And so I didn't think it was going to be a long-term thing, to be honest with you. And I was training in the gym and I was doing my workouts and things like that, even like postpartum, like probably a few weeks after I had the twins. But it was never anything like serious. Like I probably did 2 or 3 days a week and I did as much as I could being postpartum with twins and not ever leaving the house and like, having that energy. So I didn't anticipate it was going to be anything long-term, but long story short, I'm still doing that and I've been doing it for 3 years. And so, pretty much since I've had the kids, and trying to make this 12-month program work and the shred, which is how I started with you, has been like, I just honestly didn't think I could do it. I just was like, you know what, let me just go for it. I told my husband, I'm just going to do it. I didn't even ask for his permission, to be honest with you. I just said, this is what I'm doing. I don't care if you like it or not. Like I have to do it, So I did it. And so, yeah. So
I'm
like,
the same way, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Like I don't ever ask for permission to do anything because I'm like, if I have to ask for your permission, I'm going to give myself all the reasons why you should say no. That's just how I am. I don't know why,
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. So like I work when the kids are sleeping because morning here is nighttime in China. So all the kids are out of school. And so I teach all the kids when they're, they're home from school. So all of that rambling to say, yes, I do. I do work in addition to all that. And my kids have just recently started school. So I've been able to have a little bit more me time for the first time ever since having kids.
Amazing.
So it's crazy.
Well, do you know what I wanted to ask you about specifically? So I remember whenever you first joined the program, I remember that so tell the story about, you were like, I really want, like, I'm starving. Do you remember, like, we had this conversation on Facebook?
Yes.
Like, for those of you who don't know, and this is not a like, plug Kim's program, like podcast. I really don't want it to be. I really want you to hear Vanessa's story. But we had this interaction on Facebook. And so Vanessa, tell them about our first interaction where like you had like one refeed day that turned into like a refeed week. Tell us what.
God. Oh my God. It was epic.
Go.
Yeah. So I totally feel like this whole moment made me somewhat like infamous within the group because I had an epic panic attack. Yeah. It was insane. So like I was freaking out. I think I had just ended the shred, right? The 4-week shred. And I was just terrified of getting fat. Like just to put it out there. I was like, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to go back to eating any amount of food without gaining weight, freaking out, like starving, because it's a lot to go through that 4-week shred for like your first foray into like a real program. You know what I mean?
Indeed.
So I was like, I was starving, and I hopped into the group and I was like, I have had enough. Like I went on this rampage of like, I cannot take it. I'm terrified. I'm starving. I don't know what to do. Like, do I have a refeed? Do I just eat? Do I still track? Like every possible question. I don't know. My brain just exploded. Like it did. And I remember I got all these comments that they were very supportive. And then Kim, like you hopped on and you're like, why don't you just effing eat? Like
just go eat.
Have a refeed. Go eat. Eat 3,000 calories, eat 6,000 calories, just eat until you can't eat anymore. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, did she really just tell me this? I was blown away. Like, I was like, I mean, I expected maybe one small refeed meal and then that was going to be good. But you were like, just keep eating. Just have another one, have another one, have another one. I'm like, is she serious?
I know. I love it because you said, you were like, really, should I go and eat? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And then you came back and you were like, oh, I had my refeed day. It was, I don't know whether it was in the same comment or it was after. You were like, I had my refeed day. It was amazing. And I'm like, oh, and you were like, but really? Oh, what's so funny? I could have had more. And I was like, well, why don't you have another one? You were like, another one? I was like, yeah, like have, like, what I recognized in you, Vanessa, in that moment was something that so many women struggle with, right? They struggle with this feeling of guilt. And I've done so many podcasts on this. So they struggle with this feeling of guilt. They're like, I really want to eat. I really want to eat. And it's like, and for someone to stand there and give you permission, like someone who you trust or someone whose program you're working or whatever. And I think that quite often we post and we expect to be told, this happened to me, right? And I remember once I was prepping for a show and I was exhausted and I was emotional, and I've told this story loads of times. And I remember being on the treadmill and I was like a woman with constant PMS, and I was a shitty wife and a shitty mother, and I was burnt out and exhausted. And I remember messaging my coach and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, and I never messaged suffering because I'm not a sufferer. I'm like, pull your big girl panties up and get on with that kind of girl. And I messaged him and I was like, I just don't know what to do. Like, I feel so upset and I feel like I'm crying all the time. And he was like, go and take the day off. And I was like, what do you mean take the day off? He was like, go and have pizza, have a beer, have two, like have a big, and I was like, no. Are you kidding me? Like, and I remember being totally shocked. Like I expected him to go, shut the fuck up, stop whinging, get on with it, and he didn't. He was like, I totally understand where you're coming from. I get what you're going through. We all go through it. I want you to go eat. And I remember being blown away by that. And not only did the food not make me get fat, but the food, it literally changed. It actually sucked me in actually and made me leaner in the prep to the show, but also it just gave me that massive psychological break that I needed. Yes. And so whenever I saw you post this in the group, I thought, that's exactly what you need. You need someone to give you permission to go and eat, and you need to eat for 3 or 4 or 5 days, an enormous amount of calories, and realize when you look in the mirror that you're not fat. 3 or 4 eating doesn't make you fat. It really doesn't. You were so lean from the shred anyway, but your metabolism needed a kick up the ass, and you needed to get over that mental fear that you had of eating. And I love the fact that you did it. You weren't an asshole. Have you ever heard of an asshole? Like someone who constantly asks for advice and then doesn't follow it. You're not an asshole. I love that about you.
Yes. My main goal in life, like when it comes to like asking for advice, is to not be an asshole, because I just can't stand that, like if I'm going to ask for advice, I'm going to at least try what you tell me. I mean, if it doesn't work or whatever, that's a different story. But like, yeah, and I remember posting pictures, like even after that refeed, well, actually I think it was like 5 different meals. Like I probably had 10 or 12,000 calories, and it was like, it was amazing. And I posted pictures. I was like, I look better than I did before I had the refeeds. Like my muscles, I didn't have a lot of muscle at the time, but whatever I had was definitely
pumped up.
Yeah, it was pumped up. And I was like, holy cow, like this is just insane. And that was the moment, like you said, like I needed that reassurance that it was okay to eat. And even though I like was terrified still, even though you told me to do it, I was still terrified. I did it and was like, I'm not fat. I didn't gain, like maybe I gained a little bit of water weight, but who even cares? Like I look way better. I feel better. And that was like the catapults, like, into, and that's when I definitely was like, okay, I'm going to do the 12-month because I want to live like this. Yes. I want to not be afraid of eating. Like that fear just takes over your entire life, especially as a woman. Like we just have I don't know what it is, but society tells us we're just not supposed to eat. And you really believe it. And
yeah, we're socially conditioned to be that way. But I think that the difference with you, and you see the difference that I noticed with you and with many other women that I coach is I always say that whenever I answer questions with people, I always try to look at the underneath what's underneath what they're asking. And so whenever you were asking, you were genuinely asking. Okay. So it was like you were genuinely asking for advice. You weren't scared to take the advice when it came. There's many women, even in my programs or in the group, whenever they are posting in the group, it seems like they're asking for advice, but they're not. They just want to suffer. So they're saying like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what I should do. And should I do this? And I'm not sure what I should do to lose weight. Or, I don't know if I'm achieving my goal or it's not moving fast enough. And we give them advice and they don't take the advice. But what we realize afterwards is they weren't actually asking for advice. They just wanted attention, which isn't a bad thing. That's not a judgment call. I'm not saying she's an attention seeker. It's not like that at all. It's like sometimes we just want someone to make us feel better, but we're not aware enough to say, you know what, I'm feeling really shitty about myself. And I would love it if some of you would write some really nice comments to help me raise my self-esteem because I'm feeling really crap right now. We're not aware enough to do that. So we go, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. I'm not sure if I'm doing this. So but what they're really looking for is attention. So which again is not a bad thing. Looking for attention is literally what is underneath looking for attention is, I just want to feel good. I just want to feel better. I feel bad and I just want to feel better. And there is nothing wrong with wanting to feel better. But I think with you were genuinely asking for advice. And so when the advice came, you genuinely took it. But what I would love to know is so you first joined the 4-week shred. Like, what is it that you were hoping to achieve with your body whenever you first joined one of our programs? Not even one of our programs, whenever you first decided that you wanted to change, like what was it that you saw, or what were your goals in the beginning? And then, what were your goals in the beginning whenever you first joined?
Yeah. So obviously once I had kids, my goals for my physique changed a lot, like as far as what I focused on, because after I had the twins, I had the typical like wrinkly stomach and all the skin there was loose and things like that. And I was not used to seeing my stomach like that. Like my stomach was the main thing. So I don't really gain weight anywhere else. I gain everything in my midsection. I've always been like that. But I've also never been like overweight. It's just any weight that I do gain is right there in my stomach. And so I've always been like hyper focused on that area. And once I had kids, of course it got worse, or to me it got worse, and I focused just everything on that one area of my body. And, I've been working out for probably, I don't know, maybe 15 years, but like I said, like never like a legit program that I would follow, it would just be workouts, but it wouldn't be like a program. So
you weren't working towards like a measurable goal.
Yeah. I just was like, any random workout that I do is going to be good. And that's that. And, of course it helped because it kept my metabolism somewhat primed for something, which is probably why I never gained a whole lot of weight, to begin with. But once I had kids, man, that whole thing was just like, oh my God, I didn't have the energy. And I everything was just, like I said, like focused on one body part. And I'm like, I've had enough. Like I had my third kid, and after doing like random workouts, and I was like, this isn't working. And not only that, by the way, like, I don't know if this is a typical thing for women after they have kids, but I never ate like junk food before the kids. I mean, it was rare. After I had babies, it was like a constant like sugar apocalypse. It was like, I was never going to get sugar again. I need to eat every ounce of sugar that I've ever seen on the shelves anywhere. It was horrible. Like I just got so addicted to sugar. And I think a lot of that was because I was breastfeeding for years. I was either pregnant or breastfeeding for like 5 years of my life. And I just was not replenishing anything.
Well, not only that, but also the emotional strength that it takes to parent young children in, 3 under the age of 2 or 3 under the age of 1. I think you had it when 3 under the age of 2. You had
19 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Same as me. Well, I had 2 I had 2 within 17 months, but,
oh gosh. Yeah.
Emotional
still
energy,
just as hard.
Yeah, it is hard, but the emotional energy that it takes to look after all of to look after those children is enormous. And and so your ghrelin is the hunger hormone. So your ghrelin levels, it's like a stress hormone that's released that actually stimulates hunger. Whenever ghrelin is released in your body, you literally want to eat. It's like whenever you're prepping for a show and your body is depleted and under stress, you look at everything fatty and sugary. You're like, give me the fat, give me the sugar. Your body just wants calories because it is releasing a stress hormone, and stress increases your ghrelin levels, which increases your hunger. And so it's not that it's common in women per se. It's common it is a recognized scientific process which happens. So you were just, and probably you weren't
like
having
super
enough time
stressed
to nourish yourself correctly. You weren't like standing in the kitchen preparing the most delicious Buddha bowls at lunchtime. You're like, barely,
like, please, seriously.
barely
I'm like licking up like stuff off the floor, like whatever I could get. I don't care. Just give me some food.
Vacuuming and finding
like,
popcorn behind the sofa or behind
like a Cheerio or something.
Yeah.
It was like, that's definitely a good point. Like, it's just stress in general, whether you're a man or a woman, it's stress in general that makes you just like, at some point you just can't win that battle. You have to either change the stress or you're just going to eat yourself into like a stress hole. And I did that. And I did that with sugar. And finally I was like, I need to get it together. Like, I need to snap out of it. And so I joined your 4-week shred, and I was absolutely terrified of doing that much exercise. Like, it wasn't even like I was afraid of the food, but I know, right? Like, big shocker there. like the food scared me, which, by the way, like I was not vegan when I started your program. And
no way. That is crazy.
That was a whole other, I was not even close to vegan. In fact, I was probably that, paleo, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners have heard of, paleo for maybe 6 to 8 months prior to finding you. So it was nothing but bacon and high fat meats and like just stuff that was not appropriate for me at all. And so the thought of going vegan in the 4-week shred was like, oh my God, not only do I have to do that, but I have hours of exercise and I have 3 kids, like, and I have work. I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, but I'm doing it. Like,
yeah, do you know what though? You are so perfect. Like, I've told this to my husband for years. I remember whenever I wanted to join I wanted to create the Sculpted Vegan program. And he said to me, do you really think this is going to work? And he was like, you're looking for vegan women over the age of like 30, 35, who either want to be vegan and want to look like a physique athlete. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I'll tell you why. I said, it's not that I'm marketing to a specific person. I'm marketing to a mindset. And he was like, a mindset. And I was like, yeah, these crazy bastards who literally like run on adrenaline, and they are like, they see the world's most insane shred and they go, yeah, that's me. Even though they've got like 3 children. 3 children under the age of 3 and like, a full-time job, and they're not even vegan. They're like, yeah, bring it on. That's
like, I was like foaming at the mouth. My husband, I think, even called me a crazy bastard at one point. He's like, you're absolutely psycho. Like, what is wrong with you? But you know what? I have to give him credit because he has never once told me, this is too much for you. You can't do this. How are you going to make it work? Like, he would come home from work and he'd be like, okay, go to the gym. And I would do my second cardio, while the kids, like, either they were eating or whatever they were doing. And I actually did my second cardio on a TV, like followed a cardio video on TV because I couldn't do it any other way. I could only leave the house once a day. Wow. So that was my other cardio.
Just made it work.
I couldn't do it without him because obviously, I couldn't drag the kids with me, like, to do anything, but he was like, you got this. This is nothing. Like, you'll do it. It's hard, but he's like, you'll do it. You'll be fine. Like, he's like, just do it. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it.
There are so many women who are listening to this who are so jealous of you right now.
I know.
That's supportive really is something special. My partner is supportive as well, super supportive, and it really makes a big difference, doesn't it?
It makes a huge difference. Like, I'm telling you right now, I don't know how, like, as single mothers, God bless you all, because I don't know that my mindset would be the same, to be honest with you, because you can only do so much, like, everybody needs support. They want to be successful and they have like a goal. You need support. Like, you need a circle, whether it's 2 people or, whatever. You need somebody that's going to be like, okay, either you can vent to them or they're going to push you or whatever it is that you need, to keep you going when it starts getting really hard. Like, there's nothing that beats that. Like, he was definitely it for me. Like, he made it possible. And then after I was done with the shred, I was like, oh my God, I have no muscle. So then that launched me into the next program of yours. And I was like, wow, I never knew that I had no muscle. Like, I didn't have the muscle that I wanted, And so that's,
Yes, and a lot of
then,
people, they join the shred and they don't realize they go, my goal is to look like Kim Constable, and I have a wee snigger. I'm like, yes, because there's no point in saying.
oh yeah, I thought that too, by the way.
Yeah, everybody does. I used to, why? Because
Yeah.
I used to think it too. Like whenever I first bought, it was my first program I ever bought was Emily Skye's all those years ago, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to Emily Skye's program. I'm not going to look like Emily Skye. I had no clue that she had literally spent the last 10 years building muscle. It was like why people who, that's why fitness models look so amazing, because their bodies have muscular curves, but we don't realize that. We think that if we just diet away all of the fat, that underneath will be these beautiful muscles, and we don't realize that they're not, that they're not there. And so that's why the 4-week shred or the 12-week shred or whatever, they kind of go against the principles that I teach. Like my main principle that I want, the reason why I first launched a 12-month program and not a 4-week shred whenever I started the company was because I was like, this is what it takes, guys. This is what it takes. But then I realized, well, everybody wants to launch into a 12-month program or an 18-month program. And so by giving them the 4-week shred or the 12-week shred, it's actually a marketing strategy that Marie Forleo always talks about, and she says it's called the Trojan horse marketing strategy. It's sell them what they want, but give them what they need. So what people buy is a shred, but what they get is a complete education. They get like a transformation inside and out, and they get an education and a support system that they never banked on getting. And then open them up to transform their mindset. So how has your mindset changed from the 4-week shred to, how long are you in the 18-month program now? You're starting your shred. You've done a full 12 months of muscle building. Is that right?
Oh yeah. So I've, it was the 12-month program when I joined. Now it's 18 months, but I was supposed to start my phase 6 shred part of that in November. And I decided to extend my, the phase right before that, the building phase, a little bit longer, because I actually did your 1-week shred, and I was like, oh, okay, I've got more muscle than I did last year, but I want more. So I was like, I'm not shredding yet. Like, this is just like that. Here's the thing is like, and this, of course, which is why you have the shreds, is like, it shows you where you are without you trying to talk yourself into something differently. Like, I assume that I have all this muscle, but when I shred down, I see I have like nothing close to what I want. So it helps me pick and choose what path I need to either stay on or change to, And so that 1-week shred I did in November, I was like, I think I want a little bit more. So I just extended phase 5, and I'm still, what was that? November, December, January, February. So 3 months now, and we are actually going on vacation to Disney next month. So I decided to do the 4-week shred from last year. I'm actually on day 3 right now. So I would have extended it even longer.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a last minute thing. And so we decided, I'm like, I'm not going to go to Florida and be, like still trying to bulk and do all this stuff. So,
you just want to also just feel good and look good and
tighten up a little bit, I don't expect to be completely shredded like you. I mean, I'm only in the first year, but I definitely, and that's what's good about having both options. Like, you have your shred, you can use it, obviously not too frequently, not to do it all the time, but I figure once a year, me doing a shred and seeing where I'm at.
In your toolbox, it's like, okay, I have a vacation in 4 weeks. What have I got in my toolbox? Oh, great, I have a 4-week shred. Let's jump on that. I have a vacation in 12 weeks. We have a lot of people who stop the Sculpting Shred program halfway through, and they're like, oh, I haven't, my son's wedding is coming up in 3 months. What should I do? Well, how do you want to look? I want to look really hot. Well, get on a shred, girl. And they're like, can I do that? Like, this is your life and you can do anything you want,
Exactly. And the shred will show you exactly what work you've put in and what else you have left to do based on what you want to look like. Yeah. So that's what, you'll never regret doing a shred, you know what I mean? But you can regret not building long enough and having to start back into the building phase. So that's the thing. I wanted to make sure that my building phase was appropriate, because I'm very small, it just by default, I'm just small, I'm lean, I don't have a lot of muscle to lower that body fat, but I don't look like I'm overweight. Yeah. So it's hard for me to put on muscle, but I don't put on fat very easily either. Like, I was eating 3,000 calories a day in your 12-month program up until I started this shred. It's like 3,000 calories a day.
Yeah, and I'm you're small, aren't you? What are you? Are you 5'4"?
Yeah, I'm 5'7" actually.
So you're tall then. Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
but
I'm pretty tall.
Calories is still a lot of calories. That's what I would eat when I'm bulking. Crazy. Yeah,
exactly. And I don't have the muscle that you have, and so I'm definitely I went crazy. But the reason why I got up to 3,000 is because you helped me last year realize okay, obviously don't binge until you're sick and like feeling like crap,
don't get
but like
really
you
fat
need to
either, you know, there's a balance.
Yeah. Like you need to eat until your muscles like have soaked everything up. And then, you know, you're going to have a little bit of fat gain and that's okay. And like, you really like, that's the thing is people don't understand like how hard it is to gain muscle. And then
they have no clue.
People think they can, like it's nothing like what I anticipated it would be. Like this whole year, so I ended the shred at 128 pounds last year. And I don't know what that would be in
it's not. I'm 147 and I am 67 kilos, I think. So it's So
it's like I was like small, like no muscle, like you know, whatever. And so I think that's about right because it's like 2.2.
2.2,
I don't know the conversion rate. I feel like I need a calculator, but I'm not going to try to go there.
My calculator, but I'm sitting under a duvet.
And so am I. So I'm not really like calculator appropriate right now.
Are you actually under a duvet?
I am definitely under a duvet right now.
Oh my God, I love you. This is
sweating
so funny.
to death.
and I'm like, I'm still hearing my voice echoing, but I don't care because I'm enjoying this conversation.
Oh, me too. It's so funny. But I ended the shred at 128. And right before this shred that I started 3 days ago, I was 143. So I've gained
that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah. I've gained a lot of, and I'm not like, okay, you've seen my pictures. I'm not like a fatty, like, you know, like where I just binged until I'm sick, you know, like I have made it work. Like I have definitely put in the work to be able to justify going crazy and eating like that. But also, you know, I've stayed vegan since I went vegan last year on your shred. Wow. I've stayed that way, which I never thought would happen, by the way. Like, that's just, to me, being vegan, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, I am too. Thank you. I mean, just the fact that like,
you're a doer,
like, it's
you know
crazy.
what I mean? You're just like someone who gets in and gets it done. And Vanessa, tell me, what is your gym schedule like? How often do you train?
So now that the kids are in school, I drop the kids off in the morning and then I go right to the gym. And so I'll, you know, it's different, of course, now that I'm shredding, it's a little bit more, you know,
yes, of course. But like, what was your muscle building gym program?
So the muscle building, I would drop the kids off. I would go to the gym in the morning, and I would do the weights. I did zero cardio for the entire year, like none. I wanted every last
season either. I thought I might have some in this year, and then I was like, I'm enjoying my lie-ins in the morning. I can't be bothered to get up and do cardio.
Yeah, because you know what? Like when you shred. Yeah, you have enough of that crap. Like I don't need to add to all the energy sucking, you know.
And what was I always say? Like eat like a train like a I was saying everybody loves it. I started saying it recently.
Eat like a horse, train like a bitch.
Like a bitch. Yeah, I just wrote it down one day. Just like eat like a horse and train like a bitch. And people were like, "That
you have to get the shirt."
Yeah, I know.
Yes, you have to get the shirts. Like
I'll get the team to organize
Absolutely. It. Yeah, you have to. Yeah. So like I just train in the mornings and then I go to pick the kids up. And when they get home, like I just eat until we go to bed. So like, but I wake up at 3:00 in the morning and I work while everyone's asleep. And I can't do any, you know, I don't get up earlier than that to do any exercise or anything like that. I wait until the kids are dropped off at school and then that's when I go to the gym. Now on the weekends are the days that they go.
Hang on. You get up at 3 a.m.? What time do you go to bed?
I get up at 3 a.m. at 7.
Oh my God. Do you go to bed?
Well, I'm in bed. Yes, I'm actually in bed when we put the kids to bed. I don't fall asleep right away, but let me tell you something that I prioritize my sleep. Like you have never met anyone like I think you're the same because you seem to be the same way. Like where sleep is just, or at least so relaxing. Like
so important.
Like I don't care if I fall asleep right away, but I am in that bed. And my husband is sometimes like, "You don't want to watch a movie with me?" I was like, "Well, get in bed. We'll watch a movie." And he's like, "No, I want to watch it downstairs. Sorry, I got to get up at 3 a.m." Like I'm not sacrificing that for anyone. And I think that's also a huge reason why, like, I think my recovery is really good. Like I wake up the next day and I'm like, all right, let's get it done again. I have
prioritize food and you prioritize rest, which is
like epic. The two really important things in addition to your training. Like I've missed one workout in the entire year that I've been on this program. One. Wow. And that was because I had a fever and I was not going to the gym with a fever. I mean, I seriously insane. One workout.
So consistent. You've stayed really consistent all year.
Yeah. And like, I don't say that to brag, like I'm like this Miss Hot Shot and I never do, I never have like hard days or whatever, but like, I don't know. You just do it. You have to do it. The more days that you miss and the more excuses you give, the harder it gets for you because you're having to pick yourself up from a slum. If you just go and do it, even if you're having a rough day, you're not picking yourself up from like this backtracking,
Yes, of
like
course.
nobody likes to backtrack.
Yeah. No. And I bet you there have been days when you've really felt like not doing it. Has there? Like, how do you motivate your days? How do you motivate yourself on the days when you're like, oh my God, I could see this far enough?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you something that motivates me other than the end goal that I have in sight, which would be to look like amazing like you, which, should be everybody's goal, but no, like just that physique goal is one thing, but the actual goal day to day that gets me through the day and gets me in there and out is like, I'm going to be totally honest. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
The thing that gets me into the gym when I do not want to go is I'm going to not be sore that day. That's it. Like, if I don't go to the gym and I'm not going to feel that like, okay, you don't have to be sore, of course, to have results, but I'm not going to feel that.
Worked. Yes.
Like my muscles put on a show and I'm not going to feel that if I don't go. And I'm telling you, it's silly. It's ridiculous, but find your ridiculous thing, like whatever it is. It doesn't have to be like this grandiose, like, thing that gets you in the gym. It can be anything as silly as I'm not going to feel like my muscles did a damn thing today if I don't get in the gym and do it. And that has kept me every single day that I have not wanted to be in there. And
I'm kind of the same. Like it's, I trained chest and triceps today. Tomorrow was legs, and and we were leaving, and Mark, my husband, and I, were leaving the gym, and Mark was like, "Oh, legs tomorrow, legs," and I was like, "Yeah, legs," and he was like, "Sure, and I was like, and it's the thought. I actually like truly training legs with Mark Getty, my trainer. It is just insane, and I actually. I usually have like a dose of the runs maybe 3 or 4 times before I get to the gym. Not even joking. Just whenever I get there, sometimes I have to go in the middle of sets of an exercise simply because I'm just so damn nervous because I know it's going to be so hard.
Yes.
But you know what? But I would not go. The feeling of not going is worse than the feeling of going.
Way worse.
I try and explain to people like that's truly when you know that it's not what you do, it's who you are. When the feeling of not doing something surpasses the feeling of doing it. And it seems like you got there really quickly. Like I love that. That's why you've been so successful.
Yeah. And you know what? I was actually afraid to like admit that was my thing that has kept me going. Of course, there are other things that keep me going, but that's like,
your daily motivation.
That's like my daily, like it's important to have like that day to day. Like you can have long-term motivation. You can even have short-term, like, 3-month goals or whatever, but that day to day, like that's like crunch time because you have 24 hours in a day to make a decision whether you're going to do something that day or not. Once those 24 hours are gone and half of those are sleeping or whatever, especially if you're me, you don't have a lot of time to like make your decision. Like you just, you find whatever it is that's going to get you in there. And usually once you get in there, it's fine. It's just getting in there and opening the door and be like, okay, getting the first, like maybe the first set done and then you're good.
Yeah. Have you found you're a better mother or a better wife or whatever from training? I know certainly I have, but I'm always interested to hear, other mums' point of views who are just as busy as I am. Like, have you found yourself better at home?
Yes, I've definitely of course, like the energy thing gets a little draining, of course, because you're wiping yourself out of the gym. Yeah, you're training hard. And that's probably the hardest part in terms of making sure that I recover from all that so I can be present for the kids and just not be exhausted. And then, waking up so early too, like kind of plays a role in that. But, I feel like in general, my kids work out with me when I'm having to do the extra cardio, like during their shreds. And when I leave the house, they're like, "Are you going to the gym, mommy?" And they know what the gym means. And they know I'm teaching them that I do something every single day, as a habit and something that's healthy for me. And I just feel like it makes my overall like mindset a lot better just to deal with the day-to-day things with kids, like, especially toddlers, because things are so different when they're toddlers. They don't really understand.
They don't know how to control their emotions. So we have to control our emotions to not react to them. And it takes a lot of emotional energy to parent young children.
It does. It really sucks you dry. Like I'm telling you, by the end of the day at 7 o'clock, really like by 6:30, I'm like, get me out of here. Like I need to go to bed.
Wine.
And and they're amazing.
Usually get you.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is I don't even like wine. I might be the only mom on the planet Earth that doesn't drink wine.
Well, I don't drink wine either. I drink gin.
Oh, okay.
But I do enjoy champagne. So.
Oh, gin. Yes. Yeah. Gin is the way to go.
I'm a jingle. And let me tell you
sure.
actually a funny story. Whenever you're talking about your kid saying, are you going to the gym? I remember a few years ago, my daughter, I used to train in a gym called David Lloyd. And my daughter said to me one day, she said, Mummy, what happens after you die? And I said, well, they either bury you or you are cremated. And she said, what's cremated? I said, well, they put you in a big fire and they just burn your body down to ashes. And then normally someone you love will, they'll put the ashes in like a nice box or a jar, and someone you love will take them and then they will sprinkle the ashes, over, they'll take them to a place, that you loved, and they will sprinkle the ashes in a place that you loved. And she was like, oh. And so she thought for a second and she was quiet. And then she said, Mummy, she said, I know where I would sprinkle your ashes if you died. And I said, where? She said, David Lloyd. And I was like,
that is awesome.
No, and she said, but I wouldn't sprinkle them in the gym because then they would vacuum them up. So I would sprinkle them in the car park, she said. I was just outside the gym and I was like, I don't know whether I should be disturbed by this, that my daughter thinks that like my favorite place in the world is the gym. This is when I was prepping for my first show and I was like, oh, sweetie, that is so lovely. Thank you. And I was like, I think I'm disturbed that my daughter, that she wants to sprinkle my ashes in the gym. Vanessa, just one more gosh, and I can't believe we've been talking for so long. This is amazing. Like,
my gosh.
I know.
It's so fun
to talk to. It's so much fun. Like I knew this was going to be great because I love your energy.
Oh, thank you.
Such an incredible member of the group. But I do kind of, we are opening the Sculpt and Shred program in a couple of weeks, which is why I kind of undertake these series of interviews as well. Because I wanted people to really, it's okay for me to stand here and say, oh, this is an amazing program and you should join it and get great results. But, that's because it's my program. And of course, I'm going to say that. But like, if someone was on the fence about joining the Sculpt and Shred, or they've been thinking, because it is a lot of money, it's $1,500, it's $1,497 to join for the, or a 12-month payment plan, but it is a lot of money. And I know a lot of people are like, is it actually worth it? Like, what would you say to someone who was on the fence about joining or who was on the fence about making that kind of investment? Like, what would your advice be?
Oh, yeah. So like, it's totally understandable when it comes to, especially like the financial, like nervousness about it, which I had, of course, especially with having kids and stuff. I was like, I don't know if I can spend this, but you know what? Like, if you don't spend the money on something for yourself like this, you're going to spend it on something else. And is it going to be really what you want? So like at the end of the day, I had to make a choice where it was like, I can spend the $1,500 or however much it was. I can spend it on, I don't know, stupid stuff, whatever stupid thing
Tequila.
I would buy. Right. Gin while my kids are like killing me. Right. Like caffeine pills. That's my thing for sure. Yeah. Or I can spend it on something that is not only going to give me a complete like mindset shift, which of course back then you don't know. Like before you sign up for something, you have no idea, but you have to give yourself the chance. If you don't give yourself the chance to even accomplish something like this, you are never going to know whether you can do it or not. So, all the excuses in the world are never going to make up for, a year down the road. You could be like, well, where would I be now if I would have just signed up last year? And that like that doubt and that like wondering is just, it's not where you want to be. Like if you look at yourself 12 months from now and you're still miserable and you're like, man, if I would have just signed up for this program, I could be like a whole different person by now. Like that regret, Yes. It's just, you have to give yourself the chance and let go of the excuses, because there is an excuse for everything. There's an excuse to not even get up out of bed and function as a human every single day. You can find one if you want one, but
yes, of course.
Nobody ever gets successful having the excuses. So just sacrifice in other areas, like we sacrificed in other areas that we were spending too much on, like the cable bill that was like astronomical, like stupid stuff that didn't matter. We sacrificed and we made it work, and you'll always make it work, but it's like, if you don't give yourself that chance and you always wonder and you spend the next several years like in the same position you're at now, is that really worth it?
You're never going to know. And one of the things that we have found consistently is the ones actually who have to, like you said, sacrifice in one area or juggle the finances in order to make it work. They're actually the ones who get the best results. Like the more financially invested you are, the more that you've had to give up in order to make this happen. Like it was like me whenever I bought my first business building course, it was $997, and which for me at the time was a lot of money. I was a stay-at-home mom. We were a single income family. A lot of people say to me now, like I posted something recently on Instagram about flying, first class to Australia, and people were like, oh, well, it's all right for you because kids, you have
I
a
saw
full-time housekeeper and a full-time chef and all. I was like, no, listen to me, sweetheart. Whenever I started, I was a single mom not a single mom. I was a stay-at-home mom to 4 kids, and we were a single income family. There was too much month at the end of our money. I did not start with this. Everything I have, I built with my own bare hands. But anyway, no anger or resentment there at all.
No, not at all.
On Instagram, no, totally humble.
No, I saw that whole thing. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm like, seriously, piss off. But anyway,
it's like I worked to be able to get to this position where I could take this picture.
But whenever I first joined that program, and I couldn't afford to pay up front, I had to pay $97 a month for 12 months, and I remember sitting with my finger hovering over the purchase button, and I was like, I will make this work. I made this commitment to myself. I was like, I will do whatever it takes to make this successful. And I really just make that commitment to myself. And once I had made that solid commitment and it felt solid in my heart and solid in my body, and I knew that I would follow through, I clicked the pay now button and I bought the program.
Yes.
Look at me now, within 2 years, it's the largest vegan online bodybuilding company in the world, like it was making that solid promise to myself. But there have been people who bought the Sculpt and Shred, paid in full, and then never even entered the members area.
Oh, I've seen a couple of posts about that actually. Like, hey, I bought it last year and I'm just now starting, which, everybody has their thing, but
afford it that way. But it's the ones who have to really sacrifice are the ones truly who make it work, which is obviously what you did as well. And I think your story is so wonderful. There's so much more that I want to ask you, but unfortunately we have run out of time.
Oh my gosh, I want to talk forever.
I know, this is so, if you lived here or I lived there, we would definitely be friends. We would be girlfriends.
I know. Well, maybe I'll win the little trip to go hang out with you. Hint, hint.
Yeah,
no, I'm kidding.
Enter.
I'm going to enter because then we can talk for 2 days straight.
Yes, absolutely, for sure. And it really
is. Oh my gosh,
like,
so
how are you going to choose them? I'm like, we're just going to go through every single one and we're just going to choose, we're just going to choose the best one. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we have just released a new competition. It's actually on Instagram. If you check out my Instagram timeline at @thesculptedvegan, and if you're listening to this after March, after the start, I think the entries close 8th of March 2020. So if you're listening to this after the 8th of March 2020, competition is closed. Sorry, but we may run another one. But I'm running a competition to fly first class to Belfast for 2 nights to stay in 5-star accommodation to come and train with me and spend the day with me. My chef will cook us lunch. We'll go get our nails done. If you want to go and get Botox and fillers, we'll do that as well. All of the people who support me and sponsor me and do my hair, my nails, and all that kind of stuff. They're like, yeah, whoever comes, bring them around. We'll do their hair and we'll do their nails. You guys can have girlfriend time and we'll drink champagne if you drink champagne, or tequila if you don't, or whatever. So it's going to be so amazing. So we're running the most epic competition, and all you have to do is visit the website, and all the details are on the website of how you can enter the competition, or go to my Instagram page and look for the video on my timeline, and that also gives you details of how to enter. So Vanessa, this was absolutely epic. Thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it, and I loved talking to you.
Yes, I did too. Thank you so much.
And good luck with your the rest of your program. Good luck with your shred. I know I'll see you in the Facebook group anyway, but I just wanted to wish you good luck in person.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Vanessa. Have an awesome rest of the day, and thank you again.
You too. Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, yay, I can come out from under the duvet.
Oh my God, I can't breathe.
Oh my God, did you not just love her? Isn't she delicious? I absolutely adore her. And that is a badass woman who truly does not take any shit, does not make any excuses, but who just shows up, does the work. Even when it's hard, she remains consistent. She gets it done. She finds a way. And that is why she has an ass that could crack nuts and thighs that could crush a melon. This woman is on her way to literally sculpting the most incredible body. So I can't wait to see how she finishes up in the Sculpt and Shred. She's just about to start her shred, and that's going to be really interesting to see what she looks like at the end of it. It's such an exciting process. And I just want to say thank you so much to Vanessa for appearing on the podcast. It was just such a fun interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And don't forget to leave that review on iTunes. You could win a Sculpt and Shred program for yourself, because I know it is expensive. Not everybody can afford it. So I always want to, offer competitions and offer other ways that you guys can get the program or get other resources to help you on your bodybuilding journey. Don't forget also that we have a free Facebook group packed with people and with coaches to help you achieve all your goals. It's called SV Insiders. If you go into Facebook and you look up facebook.com/groups/SV for Sculpted Vegan Insiders. You can join that group. You can get free resources, free meal plans, free gym plans, free coaching. I kid you not. I offer everything for all levels. So if you want some help with your bodybuilding journey, get into the free group, check out what's happening in there, and I will see you in there too because I'm in there every single day. Okay, guys, thank you so much for listening. This was such an epic episode. Thank you to Vanessa, and thank you to each and every one of you who, without you, these podcasts just would not be possible. I love you. Have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you next week for another episode of Strong and Sculpted.